Hey, Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, Matt Bevin offers a cringeworthy explanation for his controversial pardons. UK basketball gets ready for Ohio State, and we'll try to navigate the Christmas movie kerfuffle. All that and more is next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome to Hey, Kentucky alongside Chip Cosby tonight. We're going to have some fun talking basketball and Christmas movies. But this first stuff, man, it's hard to get through. Yeah.
Man, yeah.
It's just crazy. All right, so let's begin with the story that won't go away. Matt Bevin is again defending his controversial pardons and sentencing commutations. The ex-governor went on radio yesterday saying he wouldn't reconsider any of the cases, including one of the more controversial ones involving a man convicted of raping a 9-year-old girl. Bevin says the evidence did not support the victim's story.
Trust me, if you have been repeatedly sexually violated as a small child by an adult, there are going to be repercussions of that physically and medically. There was zero evidence of that. This man was convicted purely on something that there's no corroboration for.
Bevin also says he believes every state should have a sentencing integrity unit to ensure that innocent people do not go to jail. He says Governor Beshear turned that idea down. Meanwhile, other pardons continue to produce headlines. Bevin's former KSP commissioner says he told the former governor that Patrick Baker is guilty after reviewing the case for him. And a Laurel County prosecutor is shocked that Bevin pardoned a former school administrator whose name will now be removed from the sex offender registry. Chip, let's go back to this young girl again. And basically he is saying we don't believe children when they say this happened to them.
Yeah, it just sends an awful message. And, the last time I was on here, I said, Matt Bevin needs to just go sit down and be quiet and go away. And, this is just another example. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy in that position who just doesn't understand things you should not say. How many times over the past few years has he just said things that just make you scratch your head? And, I feel awful for the families of those young girls. They should not have to be subject to that. Nobody wants to hear about that. Hopefully, the pardons were bad enough. Yeah. Hopefully now we can just...
His reasoning, though, is not even based on medically sound advice. In fact, medical experts say the exact opposite of what he has said.
There can be sexual assault with that.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And so he just...
Not only was it stupid, it's inaccurate.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. In other news, the Kentucky county that witnessed a deadly school shooting in 2018 is on its way to becoming a so-called Second Amendment sanctuary. The Marshall County Fiscal Court has given preliminary approval to an ordinance that bans any county official from enforcing any unlawful act regarding firearms. The law defines an unlawful act as any state or federal law that restricts anyone from their right to keep or bear arms. Things that includes things like taxes on firearm purchases or tracking the registration of firearms. The county attorney says this may face some legal pushback.
We're creating penalties for our deputy sheriffs if they enforce state statute. And I'm not aware of any statutory authority that allows this court to do that. When a local government acts, it needs to act with authority from the state government, because that's where the authority comes from. The state giveth and the state taketh away.
Now, Marshall County isn't the only place taking up the issue. A Second Amendment sanctuary resolution passed unanimously in Harlan County this week. Chip, almost 3/4 of the state of Virginia is a Second Amendment sanctuary now. What do you make of this?
Well, my take on, I'm not anti-gun. I'm for regulation of guns. My concern is guns getting in the hands of the wrong people, and I think that's where we see some of these situations that have developed. Unfortunately, I think this might be a growing trend. You said Virginia's done it. It's gotten approved in those 2 counties. We need to just figure this whole gun situation out, and I don't know if there's a right answer that will please everybody, but it's clearly a problem. I understand the right to bear arms, but I also hate seeing people senselessly killed. So we've got to find a healthy medium.
Not everyone's going to be happy with it. We're just going to have to get past that.
Right.
All right. Now let's turn to UK basketball. Following the team's 3-point loss to Utah in Vegas earlier this week, the Wildcats hit the practice floor yesterday afternoon with something to prove with Ohio State coming up tomorrow. Video released on social media included a made three from Nate Sistine at the top of the key. Hey, how about that? A made three from a Kentucky player. An alley pop slam by Nick Richards, and another three by Emmanuel Quickly, among other plays. Then Coach Cal addressed the team.
I said this after the game, and I'll say it to you guys here. You guys need each other more than any team I've had. And what I mean by that is, you can't do the you want to do. You need to do what does this team need me to do? Am I a finisher? Then I'm finishing like everybody's defending. What do I do for this team? I'm going to do those things.
Chip, I'm not sure that this team has enough to beat Ohio State right now.
Well, here's the thing. Nobody's that good. I've watched all the top teams, and nobody is, you can say, they're not. Kentucky could beat Ohio State. I'm not ruling that out, but I don't think Kentucky is a very good basketball team either. Now, I sit here and hesitate because we've seen this before.
Yes, of course.
You know, in December, they look horrible, and everybody's ready to give up, and then by February, they're playing well. The problem is, you know, Cal's teams always – I'm not even talking about the Anthony Davises and Karl Towns. You had guys who were ready to step in the NBA, like P.J. Washington and Tyler Hero are playing. Who on this team do you see that's of the ability to step into the – I don't know if they have the talent this year, but nobody has a lot of talent this year, so you can't count them out.
All right. I'm not going to count them out just yet. All right. We've been talking about what a historic week it's been for Kentucky football, and now many of the 2020 recruits who came on board for the early signing period will also be coming to campus early. At least a dozen players are expected to begin classes in January and go through spring practice, including Lexington Catholic quarterback Bo Allen, offensive lineman DeAndre Burford, Jeremy Flax and John Young, linebackers Sam Anali and De'Eric Jackson, and defensive backs Joel Williams and Andrew Phillips. Quarterback transfer Joey Gatewood is also enrolling early, but Chip, we don't think he'll probably be eligible right away. But the class is spectacular. And now on top of that, to have this many guys coming in early to get ready is just another benefit.
Yeah, and all eyes will be on Gatewood. He'll be able to practice.
Yeah.
So all eyes will be on him and Bo Allen. There's a lot of uncertainty at quarterback. I mean, Terry's coming off a devastating injury. We don't know if Gatewood is going to be eligible. Sawyer Smith had his issues. It's a chance for him to maybe get reacclimated. So I think the quarterback position, like always, is going to be a dominant topic this spring.
Yep. All right. Some big changes are on the way for employees at the University of Kentucky. UK's president has announced the school will be raising starting pay and making benefit changes for employees in the next year. The raise will begin on July 1st for regular employees, increasing pay $2.10 more. The starting wage increase will impact 1,700 employees. It's the second time in the last 4 years that UK has raised starting wages. And Chip, that's a pretty significant bump in pay.
Kudos to UK. I mean, we look at all the education problems, and very few places are giving teachers raises. So UK deserves credit. I think the only way we're going to keep good teachers in the system is by offering pay raises, and hopefully with this regime change, maybe we'll see some movement made towards that.
And kudos also because I think we can all lament how much college costs, and it is exorbitant.
Right.
But at least if I know, they're getting paid, people are getting paid,
Okay, my professor's don't get paid, so he might actually show up, come to class, and teach me something.
How about that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, after more than a decade of development, the new hotel complex in downtown Lexington is finally getting ready to open its doors in time for Christmas. Guests can start booking at the 218-room City Center Marriott and the 119-room Residence Inn this weekend. Access to restaurants and bars won't come until next month, but the hotel ballroom will host 2 events this weekend. It's taken us nearly 11 years to get to this point in the $220 million development, which was originally known as Center Point and spent all those years as an eyesore downtown. It really is cool, Chip, all the stuff that has finally happened in that space.
And I haven't lived in Lexington for quite some time. Every time I come here, there's something new. It's beautiful. Yeah. I know that, like you said, they've been talking about it for a while. To see it get completed is great for the city. When the bars and restaurants open, that's when the business will really get hopping.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see it happen.
Yeah, it's finally here, and it's so cool. All right, now in Hey Kentucky, in case you missed it, a review of recent headlines. Jefferson County schools are leaning toward arming school safety officers as part of the newest proposal for in-house security, which would place a safety officer at every middle and high school in the district. The state's outgoing education commissioner has a parting message to both his supporters and critics. Put kids first. Wayne Lewis also says he has no regrets about any of the decisions he made while leading the Board of Education. And Congress has included a one-year extension of a tax that pays for the Black Lung Disability Trust Fund, something that minors and their widows have been fighting for, but a long-term fix remains up in the air. Up next on Hey Kentucky, we'll have a little fun for the holidays. Our producer Noah has come up with a series of Christmas movie titles, but some of them are bogus. Chip and I are going to try to sort out fact from fiction in the Christmas movie kerfuffle after the break.